Hello and welcome. You're viewing the Citizens Journalist podcast, Mesa County Compass, that brings you the news that you can use from a different point of view. I'm Ruth.
I'm Lisa.
And together we are Mesa County Compass. Our goal is to create an informed, current, active citizenry armed with the facts. We will be covering what's new to you, what it means to you, what you can do about it, and provide you access to the decision makers when we can. Welcome to Mesa County Compass. This afternoon we are interviewing JJ Fletcher, who is running for Mesa County Commissioner seat.
Yes.
Welcome, JJ.
Thank you.
And tell us a little bit about yourself and why you got into this race.
Yes, I'm JJ Fletcher, and I'm running for Mesa County Commissioner for District 3. I live in Palisade. My family came to Mesa County in the 1880s. And for me, it's just kind of natural to run for county commissioner, because I want to stand up for the Mesa County of today and of the past as well, making sure that we have a quality of life that I call the Mesa County way. And I want to make sure that our children and our grandchildren have a bright future, that they're able to have the quality of life like my grandparents had when they came to Mesa County. They were looking for opportunity, and I want to make sure that my grandchildren have that same opportunity.
So how do you think the quality of life has changed, and what do you think the commissioners have had to do with that change?
You know, over the last several years, the economy's changed in Mesa County. Right now, I think we're losing in Mesa County as far as the economy goes. That's really what I'm going to focus on. Mm-hmm. Right now, 40% of Mesa County residents live at or below the poverty level. 33% of our residents receive one or more public funding sources. Mm. And a lot of our residents have to live and work, two families have to work to make an income. Mm-hmm. And I think things have really changed as far as the economy. If we have a strong economy, everything else kind of falls in place.
And what do the commissioners have to do with the kind of economy that we have?
I really believe that the commissioners can drive the economy. Mm-hmm. I met with GJEP just last week. And GJEP is out as a nonprofit, but they're actually funded by, they get some funding from the county. And their mission is to attract new business. Mm-hmm. And they did a good job with bringing this goose gear to Mesa County. Mm-hmm. So they're bringing in 41 new jobs to Mesa County. But I don't know that we're out there on the front line really promoting Mesa County. I don't hear that message. I hear a lot about the programs that are in place for social programs, but I don't hear a lot of message about what can we do to build a new economy.
On that note, they are talking, and I'm saying they because we've interviewed county commissioners. We've also interviewed city council people. They say that our economy is being driven by virtual things like on computers and whatnot, that people come here, they can work out of their homes and don't have to have anything else around them. Right. But I have this idea that maybe we should have something for other people that aren't on computers 24/7, that don't have that particular knowledge.
They were saying they work remotely, so they move from places like California for the quality of life here, but they're really not bringing anything to the economy other than their expenditures.
Yeah, usually rent in this case. They don't necessarily buy.
Oftentimes they have a higher income or better price, and then they can buy and kind of raise the prices here for the locals, because they're moving from California, made a lot of money on their house and paying cash for a very nice house.
Yeah, and I think we have an opportunity to see people, maybe they want to move out of California like goose gear and come to Mesa County and relocate. So they're going to buy a commercial building, or they're going to build a new commercial enterprise. And with that, they might bring 40 or 50 jobs. I would not like to see, big substantial growth. I'd like to see moderate, smaller growth with companies that bring 40 to 50. Recently we had the Breeze airline that just moved into Grand Junction. So that'll give us a connection to LA, or Orange County, wherever that flight goes
Right.
into. But that will give business people in Orange County an opportunity to visit Mesa County. And as we know, California is in crisis. And what better place to try to start a business than Mesa County right now and get away from what you're talking about, the one person working from home remote.
Right.
Because we do have a lot to offer here in Mesa County.
Other than recreation.
Right.
So, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
So, what is your understanding of what all the roles that the county commissioners fill? Because when we have interviewed them, it's amazing to me all that they oversee within the county. And have you had any participation on any of the boards that they oversee, or any idea? Like, I know that you're running for Janet Rowland's position. Are you aware of the different boards that she's in charge of just because she's a county commissioner?
Yes, I took the class inside Mesa County. And I took that class, and we had an opportunity to visit each department within Mesa County. We had a tour of the jail.
Wow.
We went to Health and Human Services. We took a tour of Road and Bridge. So there's so many avenues and faucets and departments that Mesa County oversees. I would imagine there's 7 to 10 different departments within the county. And yes, I've had an opportunity to visit those, and I understand, you know, there's an overall county budget. You also have the sheriff's department and public safety, and there's just numerous departments within the county.
Mesa County Commissioners kind of runs the whole show, really. They're definitely into all of that kind of stuff. But in that regard, I'm going to start asking you questions about some of your stances or your stances on things like the 29 Road Bridge.
The 29 Road Bridge.
Or bridge, not bridge, but the interchange, I'm sorry.
Myself, I'm in favor. I know we've been talking about this for 40, 50 years, and go back to what Alan Moore had talked about with the Palisade water treatment program. They've been just kind of wanting to kick the can down the road. Nobody really wants to strap down and get the project done, but I think it's time for Mesa County to get on board with having an interchange that brings more traffic off the interstate, gives them more opportunity, but it also would give entrepreneurs or new businesses another place to relocate, and it would also allow for a little different traffic flow within the county.
I think that would be very important because right now the traffic flow is basically on Patterson, and it's getting almost like a big city.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it really is.
Patterson's kind of scary. So when you're, what is your platform? Like, what are your planks of things that you would like to achieve? I know you'd like to bring in new business,
Right.
but overall, to create this quality of life, what's your platform for what you think you can achieve and how you would seek to achieve it?
Yeah, number one, like we talked about, the economy, building a strong Mesa County economy. It's kind of like when my family was in the cattle industry, and they sold milk cream, and cream was their main business. They brought in these cream cans from Canna Creek, and they brought them down on horseback. Well, you know, with milk, the cream rises to the top. If you've got a strong economy, the same thing happens. The cream's at the top, everything goes out to build everything else up around it, whether it's the social programs, dealing with mental health programs, dealing with hospitalization. So right now, the two hospitals combined in Mesa County had a $19 million loss last year. So, you know, we got to address that. We talk about mental health. When we break our finger, we know that it's going to take 6 weeks for that finger to heal. But mental health is a lifetime issue for a lot of people. We need to address that in a way with compassion. I know that, you know, the county's working on different projects, but it's threefold. You know, we got to work within the private industry with mental health. We got to work with our churches and nonprofits, and then the government. Ronald Reagan said it best: when the government knocks on your door and says, "I'm with the government, I'm here to help," you might want to shut the door and reconsider.
Right.
So just taking that mental health, what would that look like to you? How do you do that?
Again, I think you've got to be, or I would be committed to go out within the community and meet with the nonprofits. Yeah, I serve as the president of Hope and Horses, so that's a no-brainer for me, but I can meet with other nonprofits because I have a like mind. those that want to get on board with mental health. And then second to that is what can the churches and synagogues in the valley do? Because that's where we used to turn to solve problems. When we talk about world history, when there wasn't a place to bury somebody, the church took on the role. That's why you see these cemeteries at churches.
Right.
Then you see the evolution of St. Mary's, which is an outshoot of the Catholic Church. And they were compassionate enough to fulfill the mission of hospitalization and health care.
Okay.
So again, that mental health thing, though, is a lifetime process. It's sitting down like we're doing today and checking in with people. When I work with my veterans, I try to make as much contact with my veterans as I can. When they isolate, I know they're having a problem. And if I have to, I'll go to their house and I'll say, "Are you okay?" Now, granted, you have to be careful sometimes with mental health, going to somebody's house by yourself. You have to, I guess, trust.
Have a little faith.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, exactly. Well, on the mental health issue, that kind of leads to our homeless situation here in Mesa County. What have you thought about for any solutions for that? I know we've been passing the ball around all over the place, but right now it still seems like we have a big issue with our homeless and the mental health issues that come with being homeless, that kind of thing.
It's a tough issue because it's really evolved just within the last few years. I think the pandemic really played into that. I think that we had so many parachutes that people could grab onto as far as the money that was trickling in, that it was so easy to just get complacent. I think another component of that maybe is when the legalization of marijuana. I think that had a part to do with it. Again, Colorado voted for marijuana. It's here.
Right.
And there's nothing that I can do to change that.
And we have to deal with it.
There's a complexity that people feel like lethargic, that maybe it leads to another drug. Maybe it's the next level and the next level. I have a brother in Denver that struggles with some of these issues. And again, it's an issue that I don't think you can address it with the 2,300 homeless people that we have all at once and put them in an auditorium and try to solve it. I think it has to be solved maybe in small groups of people, maybe trying to get them together. The first thing you have to do, though, is you got to find them housing and hopefully get them off the street. My daughter works with Volunteers of America here in Grand Junction, and their first priority is getting the homeless veterans off the street. If they can get them into housing, then they will look for a job next. They will look for food, other things, but housing is the number one priority for these homeless veterans.
I can understand the homeless veteran situation. A lot of these homeless people, however, are homeless by choice, and they really don't want the rules and restrictions that come with the housing or any of the other governmental programs that you can get them into. So how do we handle that?
That's a pretty complex question because, again, we're a country with liberties and freedoms. And do we say to them, if you choose to live that way, that's your way of life? And, I would encourage you to do otherwise. But as an American citizen, I can't change your viewpoint on wanting to just live off the street. But here's something I can help you with.
Okay. And that just kind of leads up to another thing. What do we do with those people? Because right now they're in Emerson Park. Emerson Park is going to be there long because of the skate park going in. Where do they go? And those people, I would say probably 85% of them are people who really choose to be in that situation.
Well, number one, I think the city council's meeting, immediately to address the issue with Emerson Park, if that's the name of the park you're talking about, where the tents are at. If they
move from Whitman.
Whitman.
They move from Whitman to Emerson, and I believe they're going to pass an ordinance where it'll be illegal to set up a tent.
You have to have a permit.
You have a permit. So who of those people are going to have money enough to buy a permit?
And again, I think a lot of them came to Grand Junction, the inner city part, because of a lot of the social programs that we offer downtown. These people aren't going to be in Colburn. They're not going to be in Quebec, and we very seldom see them in Palisade. So it's kind of like an urban cluster of people or an enclave.
And you don't see them in Minot.
No.
At least not during the winter.
Not during the winter.
And I think the word got out that, if you go to Grand Junction, it's a pretty good place to be if you're a homeless person.
Well, years ago, that's what the hobos did, was ride the trains in.
Right.
But they rode the trains out, too,
Yes.
when it became wintertime. Now they're not doing that. They're
No,
staying here.
I don't think, like we mentioned, very many of them are getting jobs.
Right.
They just choose to be homeless.
They do indeed.
Use the system. So then what are your first priority is the economy.
Yes.
What other priorities do you have, and how would you change? Because one of mine, and I think that the county commissioners have been pretty open to having people contact them, but how do you keep people informed about what's going on and keep them and listen to them and get their input for what's important to them?
Again, I think you have to, as time allows, have an open door policy that you can schedule a meeting with a county commissioner, go have coffee with a county commissioner, which I'm sure all three county commissioners are doing that today, and I would abide to that as well. And then having town hall meetings. I believe if I get elected, the first thing I would do is prioritize having a town hall meeting where we can sit down in public and discuss issues that are relevant to the constituents in Mesa County.
I think that would probably be a good idea, and maybe take it in sections from Palisade to Clifton to Junction to Fruita to Loma even, because everybody has their own unique individual issues.
Sure.
And yet we're all within a 40-mile reach.
Right.
Yeah, like I was talking to some of the people who live in Colburn, and it's such a different part of Mesa County. It's a lot of ranching, a lot of people that live there because of the lifestyle of ranching or to get away from the city. But are there economic opportunities for Colburn, and do they want that? So we'd have to have that discussion with the town leaders in Colburn and the stakeholders there,
Right.
and then Quebec. Then you have Gateway, and then little places like Whitewater, and then have that discussion in Loma and Mac and work your way through.
Exactly. And many of the places, like you say, are not willing to have growth,
Right.
so to speak. Junction would be the hub
Yes.
for everybody, and they like to have their little small towns and come into the hub whenever necessary. So, yeah, that does make it so you would have to have town meetings outside of the area.
What about the budget that they have? What do you think of the budget that the county has? Do you think they do a good job with it? What changes would you bring, or what would you think?
I have a meeting on April the 1st with, it's probably March the 1st with Pam at Mesa County Finance.
Okay.
I want to sit down and look at the budget, and I believe the Mesa County budget's about $330 million. And I want to see what the priorities are. I want to meet with some of the department heads and see what priorities they have for the upcoming year or 2025, see what priorities they have. Right now, the Mesa County budget, from what I was told, they only have 10% of their annual budget in reserve. That kind of frightens me a little bit, because that's only $30 million. If we were to have a downturn in the economy, where's our parachute? I know Sheila Reiner has sent me some financial information on county investments. I'm going to look into that. I talked with Todd Hollenbach. He's the Assistant Deputy Director at Mesa County. I want to talk to Pete Bear. Another thing that concerns me is, have you gotten your property tax valuations?
I haven't yet, but I know what's coming.
Right. We know that they're going to go up. I know the county commissioners have brought the mill levies down a little bit.
Well, the county commissioners only have control over the mill levy for the county.
Right.
And they did. When they were on, they explained there's 27 special districts. All of those have their own ability to reduce the mill levy for their own area. So the city also has theirs, but you don't see anybody going, well, let me take less money this year. But the county did lower theirs. So you can't really blame the county for the property value. One, you can't blame them for the property valuation going up, and you can't blame them for the taxes going up and I know they did. They reduced their mill levy.
The cause
And
and
they can do
effect's going to be, though, you're going to have an increase on your property taxes.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've already have hyperinflation.
We do.
So that's
We
going to
do.
mean that you're going to have reduced spending. If you have to pay $500 extra, or if you're a commercial owner, you're probably going to have to pay several $1,000s extra. So you're not going to have as much money to go on that trip to Hawaii. You're not going to have as much money to invest in more infrastructure.
And
So
then
how do you
turning around,
change
yes.
that? How do you
Exactly.
impact that?
That I'm just kind of getting to the impact. I
Right.
don't know
Okay,
the
I'm sorry.
solution.
Oh, okay.
The solution would have to be, it starts in Denver. Denver is where that all starts.
You're right.
I know that
Exactly.
they asked them this. They just got shot down. The Democrats shot it down on a property tax decrease for the state that would go in effect probably this year. Though, as a Mesa County Commissioner, I can be a strong voice and say, we need relief in Mesa County, and start here and push back.
Now that's
And you don't think they did?
The
The
commissioners.
The current commissioners, you don't think there was
I
any
do not
pushback?
know if they had. I know. Yes, they did write a letter. I remember Brent Goff writing the letter, and the Mesa County Commissioners had Janet Rowland. All three of them signed on to that letter. I don't know exactly what it addressed, but it did have something to do with property tax valuations.
Right.
But maybe you go to Denver and lobby.
that might be a good place to start. You know, and you think it's kind of the devil is in the details. We want less property taxes, but you look at North Avenue, and you can't go down that without falling in a pit.
Right.
Patterson's about the same way. It's getting to the point to where you're going to fall into a pit. Our roads, our infrastructure is not really good. And that's something that we need to think about too when we're thinking about all of this change in taxes. So what are you thinking along those lines? Do you think you would prioritize something like your roads and bridge department or something of that sort?
I think we definitely have to prioritize. Again, North Avenue is a state road. The funding for that road would come from your gas tax. The county really doesn't have much say on North Avenue, but they do on the secondary roads leading in, like we talked about the expansion of 29 Road. I know people in Fruita are feeling the crunch down there because of the growth that they've chosen to have down in Fruita. So there's definitely going to have to be some discussion of infrastructure in the Fruita area, not so much where I live on East Orchard Mesa because we're not seeing the growth down there.
Right.
So prioritize.
Well, what would you like us to know about why you would be the best candidate?
The reason I think I'd make the best candidate, again, it starts with passion. And as a businessman, if I can't find the solution in a few minutes, I'm looking for another solution. I'm making another phone call. I'm making a third phone call. I'm making a fourth phone call. I'm a person who doesn't give up until I get the correct answer. I've, as a business, as an entrepreneur for over the last 40-some years, I've always met every challenge head on. I'm not very patient in waiting for a response from people.
Me either.
I want to solve the issue now because I guess I'm just built that way. I think that if, for instance, the impacts the border wall, and we all know that if we close and build the wall, that we're not going to have the influx of people coming here. So the easy solution is let's close the wall. Let's build the wall. I want results now. I'm just built that way. And again, I don't have much patience. And just recently with Hope and Horses, we had a legal challenge, and one attorney didn't get back to me within 2 weeks, and I went over to another attorney, and they took care of the issue. If I had an issue with a farrier, and I had to get another farrier, and I got on the phone with 10 different farriers until I found the right one.
Right one.
I'm just that way.
That's a good
I'm
quality.
passionate about making sure that we get the answer and trying to get it immediately versus later and putting a Band-Aid on it.
That's the whole thing right there, putting the Band-Aid on. It's kind of like Palisades sewer system and the Band-Aids they've been putting on that for years and years and years. And it's been kind of a concern to a lot of people in that area.
Another issue that's within our county is the agricultural issue, but it's pretty much the water issue.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
The farmers, the whole valley depends on the Colorado River and the watershed. And when we have these drought years like we've had, but let's go back in history. My family came here in the 1880s, and the first thing they did, they knew that in order to survive, they had to build reservoirs on the Grand Mesa.
Mm-hmm.
So they built 300 reservoirs on the Grand Mesa, and we use a lot of those still today.
Mm-hmm.
The weather changes, climate changes. We can't do much about it, but we can build for the future, right? And we need to make sure that we have the water rights that we need. And we talk about quality versus quantity.
Mm-hmm.
If we continue to build in Mesa County, the city of Grand Junction has already said we're going to run out of water. We will not be able to provide the quality of water that we have from the Cannon Creek watershed by the year 2043. We're going to have to use water from the Gunnison. But what if Blue Mesa? What if we go through another 10-year period of drought?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to prioritize and make sure that our water rights are met, and that we take care of the people that are in the agricultural industry, the Palisade peach farmers,
Mm-hmm.
the hay farmers in Mac, the people that have built the wineries in Mesa County, who built a world-class product.
Mm-hmm. Very important.
Yes, it is.
My dad didn't want anybody to move here because of the water. There's not enough water.
Yeah, they're still, they continue, as we know, the lower basins continue to fight. California, like they mentioned yesterday, they still have water, fresh rainwater going into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And why didn't they plan more storage?
Right. Right.
They should have, or build a desalination plant. I can't say that.
Desalinization.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the word out
Yes,
today.
yes.
But anyway, yes.
So I know you're a man of faith. How do you see the culture of Mesa County? Do you see it changing, and how would you impact that? Or do you have a problem with the way the culture is changing in Mesa County?
Kind of redefine that a little bit.
Well, I would say, like in a school system, or in my favorite thing in the library, they say that when we went in there, there is so much inappropriate literature for children, especially, and you don't see books that maybe a person of faith would want. And they said, well, it's what's checked out. What's changed? Because I know it used to be in the library that when you went in, I just said, this is the place. It's the great equalizer. They have resources that other people don't have. There was not this, we need to push an agenda. We need to push for gay rights. We need to push. It's here, and we're not pushing anything. We're just offering. But there's been a change.
Yeah, faith is very important in my life, and it's a very important component in prayer. And I know for me, my grandchildren, they're not going to school District 51. They're going to Independent Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've seen in my lifetime, they took away school prayer.
Mm-hmm.
They took away the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mm-hmm.
They have people that are kneeling for the national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
Those are cultural problems. I mean, sure, they have their right to free speech, and I get that, but I think that if we get back to, let's bring God back to America, we can solve a lot of these issues. I can't force feed
Nope.
God to people,
Nope.
but I can live my life and show them an example of what a godly person can accomplish and how they can live a better life.
Mm-hmm.
I know that even at the academy that my grandson goes to, they talk about these people that identify as cats.
Mm-hmm.
And he's confused. He's like, we got people that are identifying as cats, but they're allowed to identify as cats.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't happen in my household.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Ruth, do you have anything you want to share? We dominate, and there may be things that you think are important that we've missed that you want to talk about, that we'll let you have that opportunity.
Yeah, I'll just bring it right out. Like I said, we've gotten away from school prayer. We've gotten away from the Pledge of Allegiance. We're kneeling instead of standing for the flag. And a lot of that happened in Denver. And Denver's controlling the state of Colorado and our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? When they reintroduced the wolf, I'm not so sure that some of those politicians in Denver, that they're wolves in sheep's clothing. And I'm not so sure that a lot of them haven't come over here to feed us this new lifestyle that they want to bring. And I believe that we can fight back. We can fight back. I believe that we need to fight for liberty. We need to fight for freedom. Are they going to take it away from us?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be on the retreat as a Mesa County Commissioner. I'm going to be on the front line.
We appreciate that.
Yes, we do
Yeah, yes, we
appreciate
do.
that. Well, thank you, JJ, very much for your time to come here and interview with us.
And you've been listening to Mesa County Compass. This is the facts as we see them, the truth as we know it. You decide.
Thank you.